much. It is really too much that such a thing could happen in this house.
Compose yourself, dear lady, please. Your distress only increases our own.
Your consideration, Count, in no way diminishes our responsibility.
Count, Luigi, you say that no one knew about that knife except those of us who were at the party last night? Well, it strikes me, Judge, that we're all under suspicion.
No, by heaven. I'd as soon suspect my family as one of my friends, or my servants. For that matter, there's not a soul in Dawson's Landing, black or white, who I wouldn't vouch for. No, no. Had to be a stranger.
Of course it was. Why, these days, all the riffraff going up and down the river.
Doesn't matter who did it. A guest in my house has been robbed. Therefore, gentlemen, you must permit me to arrange to repay you to the full value of your missing property.
No, sir, that is unthinkable.
Now, just hold on there a minute, Judge. Why not offer a reward first? Say $500. No, thank you, Sally. In gold. I understand fellows who steal things prefer that to paper money. They can print that themselves.
No, no. If it was a stranger, he'd hardly risk suspicion by claiming a reward. Besides, you could get a heap more for that knife by selling it. Get rid of the evidence besides.
Well, I think I can fix it so we can't.
How do? Got your letter. Now, what's it going to be? You going to square up, or do I pay a little call on the judge?
You can pay a little call on the devil. Here's your interest and $500 of the principal.
When do I get the rest?
Just as soon as I've completed a certain transaction.
This certain transaction don't have a large ruby in its handle, does it? Reckon you've been so busy with one thing and another you ain't got a chance to read the paper. All about some foreigners boarding with your uncle. Now, they woke up one morning and found themselves shy one heathen knife. Knife's worth a whole lot more than the reward that's offered. The fellow who's got it won't be able to sell it either. Whoever put that article in the paper saw all of that.
What are you talking about?
See them letters at the end?
PC.
Please copy. That's editor's talk, telling other papers to use that story. Yes, sir, by tomorrow, day after, every paper from St. Paul to New Orleans will be knocking the bottom right out of the stolen knife market. I'd surely like to meet up with any lunatic who buy that knife now. I could sell them shares in a collar of mine.
I can't give you anything. I haven't a dollar. Not a goddamn cent. Please don't tell my uncle. On my knees, I beg you. I appeal to you, Mammy. What am I gonna do? I need money. I'll go to prison. I'm scared. What am I gonna do?
You want my help?
Yes. Yes. I've no one. No one. I haven't anything now I can sell. I need.
Turn to me. And what you always done when you were troubled and scared. Don't you remember? Of course you do. Just like when you were a little bitty baby and you had a misery. Who was he to reach out to? When you fell over and got yourself hurt, when the other boys threw sticks at you and called names on you and you cried like your little heart was going to bust. Who was it you come to when you was scared?
I'm scared now, Mammy. What am I gonna do?
Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Dear child. Everything's gonna be all right. It's gonna be fine. You just leave it to old Roxy. I get you the money. You say you got nothing you can sell? You was wrong. You do.
What?
Me. I is my own property. It belongs to myself. I got my freedom paper. I can do with me what I want. Now tell how much money you owe.
11, 1,200, but...
And that's exactly what you sell me for, you hear? Not a penny more. Not that I ain't worth more. I fixed myself up. I worth the heat more.
You mean you really would do this for me?
Ain't I your own mammy?
Oh, Roxy, I just can't thank you enough.
Bless you, child. Just hearing you say that is enough. All right now. But first you got to promise me something.
Anything.
First, you ain't ever going to gamble again. You hear? You ain't ever going to touch another playing card so long as you live. Or liquor. You're going to save your money, every dollar you get, and not spend 1 cent more than you needs to show the world you is a gentleman. Now, when you has put enough money to one side, you was coming up to get me, and you was going to buy me back. You understand that now?
Of course, Roxy. I promise I do.
Because you can't send me around here. There's too many folks that knows me. What you do tomorrow night, you meet me here, and we drive to Millerville, and you find a buyer there, somebody who live up the river, not too far away, and who looking for good house slaves, not no field trash. You promise all that?
Yes, I swear it with all my heart I do. And when I come into my estate, I'm going to see to it you never have to work again. You hear that, Roxy? I'll take care of you so long as you live. You just hop in now, Chambers. You're riding back today.
Put her in with the others. No time to feed him. Fine piece of goods, Mr. Driscoll. If you could just step over here, I believe we'd better straighten out some of the terms.
Don't you fret now, Roxy. I'll be back up to get you. No time at all.
Yes, Master Tom, I know you will. Wonder what we is. Like it's death out there. Can't see nothing. Here, you. Come here. Hey, what you do? What you want? What you see out there? Look.
Ain't nothing out there. Where? Nothing, just an old floating log.
Floating which way?
Way trash always floats. Down the stream, don't it?
And which way does smoke on?
Same way. Appears like.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. I've been sold down the river.
I do appreciate it, sir.
Well, not at all, my boy. It is, after all, your allowance. Although I do confess, I give it to you the more gladly because I believe this to be the first time you haven't pressed me for it.
Well, I hope, Uncle, that I'll never be so ungracious as to offend you again.
Well, Tom, I must commend you on your comportment this past month.
I'm grateful, sir, for your high opinion of me. You may be certain I'll do all in my power to be deserving of it.
I'm sure you will, my boy. Matter of fact, your aunt has remarked it.
Come on, Joey. Come on, Joey. Joey, come on, take it, Joey. You got it. Come on, Joey. Right here, up, Pete. Come on, Pete.
Are you satisfied now? Are you satisfied now, Weber?
That last one was a fix, and you know it.
Last time.
You paid me 30 and you owe me 20.
What? You used to come right away to the house on the old Jessup farm.
What are you talking about? Nobody lives there. The place is deserted.
Yes, sir.
You owe me 20.
You used to come alone, sir.
20, you owe 20.
What are you talking? What the hell are you talking about?
Only you don't come, sir. Your uncle go on know everything, and you'll be ruined forever.
Bring her back. Bring her back. Bring her back. Come on. Come on. I'm here. You tell my uncle. You tell my uncle and you won't get a cent. Are you there, Bartley? Blackmail won't work. You up here?
Come in, Master Tom.
Roxy.
You said I was going to be sold in Missouri.
Yes, well, that was my intention.
I was took into Arkansas.
Well, now that
Sold
was
your mammy down the river.
a mistake. A mistake.
You sold your mammy down the river.
But the man said you'd be indoors and well treated.
Mistress said I was too pretty, too white. Put her in the field, she said. And me hit with the mule, and the overseer whipped me. And I escaped another month, I'd be dead. That what you reckon on, wasn't it?
Of course not, Roxy. You know I was gonna go back down there and buy her back as soon as I could. I told you that.
Tomorrow.
What?
You gonna buy me back tomorrow before the slave catcher find me.
Where am I gonna get the money?
The judge. He give it to you.
Oh, yes, of course. All I have to do is tell him I sold my old mammy to pay back my gambling debt, so he'd buy you back all right. If I do that, he'd tear up his will, and that'd be the end of everything.
And that's what it'd be if you don't go.
Who are you giving orders to, you insolent old crow? Damned if I'll accept that from some old chalk-faced old nigger.
You only have what I tell you to. I'm going to the judge myself and tell him the whole truth. It was your own mother you sold down the river.
What did you say? What did you say?
Before the Lord, you is my natural son.
You dirty.
Don't you ever do that again. I ain't only your nurse, Mammy. I is your blood, Mammy. I just didn't raise you, I born you. You ain't white no matter how proud you is. How much you be shine in the dark. You ain't as white as Chambers. That poor boy. You've been kicking and cuffing all his life. Massa Pussy Driscoll's real sad. And your massa.
It's not true. Just trying to get back at me, making up stories like that. You go to my uncle with lies like that, he'll put you in the madhouse.
It's true, and I can prove it. See those? These beads was around Master Tom's neck when you was both babies. And I took this off him and I put it around you. And I switch your clothes. Call you Master Tom, nobody ever know the difference. I change you off so my son could have a good family and a good name and grow up to be a rich white gentleman, wear fine store clothes. Oh, I done a sinful thing. Now I'm paying for it. I took the chain off a slave, put pretty beat on him. He grew up to be mean and spiteful and wicked. You were raised to it, just like your daddy. He was spoiled and coddled just like you. Till there was no righteousness left in him at all.
My father, then?
Don't matter. He's dead now. A long time. Oh, he was respectable. All your granddaddies was. Going back more than 100 years. And they was all white, except one. And he was a king back in Africa. And the only one you and me got any cause to brag on. If you had more of his blood in you, you might have growed up a man.
Anyone else know about this?
Just you and me. But it's all written down in a letter. Oh, I know what you scheming. I know. Anything happened to me, that letter gonna be sent right off to Lord Wilson. All right, then. You can go now. And you see the judge, and you get him to buy me free. Because if you don't, I'll tell him the whole story, and you was cut out of his will for certain. And you'd be lucky he don't throw you down the river like you done me. Get off! Take to a death like!
The judge. Whoa.
Hold on, what's going on here, mister?
This man, I seen this man come running out of the house there. That's the true fact.
Well, hurry. Andy, what's happened? Who was it?
I saw somebody climbing out of the window. I saw somebody climbing, and I tried to follow him.
Seems like you left something behind. That your valuable knife, Mr. Capella?
Ma non ho capito. This is monstrous. I tried to aid the judge.
Look! Go fetch the sheriff.
Yes, sir,
I'll have
master.
these two till he gets here. No.
I'd like to express my sincere condolences, Tom.
Thank you very much, Mr. Howard. Thank you very much.
Hey, Tom, don't forget your friends.
All right if I come in, Dave?
What?
Don't mean to interfere with any pressing Enterprise.
No. Looking for criminal statute, state of Missouri. I know I had a copy here somewhere. There's not much occasion to consult it.
I understand that it's your intention to represent that scurvy Italian in court.
Who? Oh, Count Luigi. That's true.
I thought you were a particular friend of my late uncle.
That's also true.
How do you justify defending the man that murdered him?
Accused of murdering him. Your late uncle was a judge. I reckon he'd agree that the accused should be represented by counsel. Doorstop.
Well, now, no offense intended, but you're gonna lose this case, too. I mean, that lying Dago, everybody in town knows he's guilty of sin. But they're just talking about stringing him up out of hand. Well, some people are, anyway.
Well, fortunately for justice, he's being tried for the people, not by them.
Oh, there was something I meant to inquire about. I'd have done so sooner, only I hadn't thought it seemly.
Oh, it should be out of probate any day now, your uncle's will. That's what you meant, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. But not important. I was just wondering, that's all. Well, I'll be...
See you next week.
Well, what?
In court.
Yeah.
Sheriff says to sign this, and says that's to be back in the courthouse tomorrow.
Thank you, Jess.
The accused will step forward. Luigi Annunziato Capella, it is charged that you did willfully and with felonious intention commit an assault upon the person of one York Lester Driscoll, late of this county, which resulted in his death. How do you plead?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
You may open for the prosecution, Mr. Banks.
"12 good men, chosen by the state to sit in judgment of the facts, without fear, favor, affection, or hope of reward. That is an American jury."
Speak up, please, Mr. Vance.
Your Honor, you are by nationality too addicted to common sense to be persuaded to my case by flattery. Nor would you be intimidated by foreigners, no matter how ornamentally decorated with the worn-out titles of pretentious nobility. Not that we harbor prejudice against the honest foreigner. Why, our own ancestors came from Europe, fleeing the oppression of those who call themselves kings and dukes and counts. No jury on earth can bring the water of life back to the broken vessel that was once York Lester Driscoll. But given the facts, the people in the state of Missouri are prepared to demonstrate beyond a shadow of a shade of a scintilla of doubt the incontrovertible guilt of the accused Luigi Capello, that he had the temperament to murder, that he had the motive to murder, and that, given the opportunity to murder, did in awful fact commit a murder. Justice demands from this jury only one verdict. And from the court, one sentence. And that they be based on a precept in the one book of law we all have read. The wages of fear, sin, is death.
The defense may present its opening argument.
Boiled down to the small, my learned adversary's arguments seem to hold that motive and opportunity constitute enough evidence to convict for murder. Now, it's always been my expression that if the desire to kill and the opportunity to kill always came together, who of any of us would escape hanging?
Is that all, Mr. Wilson?
Oh, yes, that's all, Your Honor.
Very well. You may call your first witness, Mr. Baines.
Lucas Dawkins, come to the book and be swore.
Have you ever seen this before?
I have, sir.
Where and under what circumstances?
On the floor at Judge Driscoll's study, right next to his mortal remains.
Apart from the blemish on the handle, the bloody finger marks left by the killer, does this knife resemble the one described by the accused as belonging to him?
It does appear to be very light.
A little louder, please.
It does appear to be very like. He did say that it had a quite large ruby on the handle.
Then it would be safe to assume that, barring the unlikely event of two such curious weapons being in the vicinage of Dawson's Landing, this is the identical weapon which Mr. Capello reported to have been stolen on the night of the party?
Yes.
And when informed of the theft, the alleged theft, what was Judge Driscoll's response?
First to offer a reward, and then, in the event that the knife was not recovered, to offer to pay Count Luigi its equivalent value.
My dear lady, did it never occur to you that the theft might have been a hoax? That your husband had discovered it, and that there was a confrontation and a quarrel, and that Count Luigi, with the knife in his possession, used it to gain by force what he could no longer gain by fraud?
Objection. Counsel's leading the witness.
Sustained.
Exception.
Exception denied. Clerk will strike the last question.
Now, these possibly impoverished, but obviously dashing Capelli, most particularly, did Count Luigi strike you as being violent men? Hot-blooded?
Frankly, sir, yes. He admitted, in fact, boasted openly in front of witnesses to having murdered a man with, I do recall, that very knife.
Thank you. I call the next witness.
Abraham Spooner.
And where do you reside, Mr. Spooner, and what is your line of work?
Hannibal, Missouri. I'm the sheriff of Marion County.
Now, Sheriff, are you familiar in your official character with a Count Luigi Capello or with a Count Angelo Capello?
No, sir.
Will the defendant rise? Do you recognize this man?
Yes, sir.
Identify him, if you will, and tell us under what circumstances you last saw him.
Claimed he was Count Vincenzo de Cipriani, back last December. Caught him and his brother, Count Guglielmo, climbing out a hotel window. Good thing, too, because they was about to leave town on a rail.
Oh, and why was that?
Committee of Citizens was real put out with them. Seems these fellows borrowed a large sum of money and was real bashful about paying it back. They was absconding with the collateral, too. A real fancy-looking knife.
You've examined this knife, have you not, Mr. Beckley? Mr. Beckley?
Yes, I have indeed, sir.
And you have been engaged in the jewelry trade in St. Louis for 22 years? What then is your expert opinion of this magnificent stone? This ruby, which we are assured is from the Malabar coast of India?
Well, first, it's never been any closer to India than the port of New Orleans. And there it was most likely cut from the labored running light of a steamboat.
Oh, what are you saying, sir?
That it's nothing but a piece of red lantern glass.
Your witness.
No questions. Matter of fact, we waive all cross-examination.
Is defense prepared to call its own witnesses, then?
Well, we don't have any, Your Honor.
Mr. Wilson, the court is puzzled by what has appeared to be such an indifferent concern for your client's cause as to be a denial of his right to an adequate defense.
Perhaps counsel would like to confer with his client with a view to changing his plea?
Oh, provide the court with one good reason why I should not declare this a mistrial.
Well, now, just hold on a minute. We're not ready to throw in the sponge just yet. The truth is, Your Honor, I'd like permission to introduce some new evidence.
What is the nature of this evidence?
Palm prints, Your Honor.
What?
Let me explain, Your Honor.
Now, see here.
Mr. Wilson here has some local notoriety as a parlor entertainer. He tells people's fortunes by reading the lines on their hands.
Well, not in my court.
Well, it's true what Mr. Vance says. I've been interested in palm prints for years. It's what folks around here call an eccentricity. At least the polite ones do. I must have made and saved the hand pictures of everybody in town and many in this courtroom at least once and sometimes more.
I warn you, sir, this court's tolerance does not extend to soothsaying.
Oh, no, sir. I have too much respect for the court to do that. Actually, I hadn't intended to submit pictures of hands at all, just parts of them, the fingers, and just part of those, the tips. May I remind Your Honor that finger marks, those on the knife, have already been admitted. State's Exhibit Letter A. Yes, sir. No getting around it. That's a foreign knife, all right. Got a real sinister look to her, too. Now, prosecution claims that all those bloody finger marks was put there by the murderer, and I'm afraid I've been backed in the corner, and I'm going to have to concede that he's right. Now, I have here a pantographic drawing of those finger marks done in the large. Now, if Your Honor, and you too, Mr. Vance, would be good enough to compare this to those marks on the knife handle and just see if it doesn't match up to a fair likeness.
They appear similar. The drawing may be admitted.
Now, Mr. Foreman, if you would also compare these, then pass them along to the next fella while I'm getting this machinery going.
Counsel, what are those objects?
Well, they're called polyopticons, Your Honor. They're gotten up on the same plan as a magic lantern. I borrowed these from a fellow who runs a tent show over in Greenville.
Now, look here. I've already warned you.
I assure you, Judge, this will be as dignified as Sunday school. I reckon they're up to pressure. Now, this is a copy of the drawing which you gentlemen have and which you just compared with those bloodstains on the knife. I think you'll agree that they tally right on down to that V-shaped scar up near the top of the third finger. Now, I took notice that some of you were inspecting your own finger ends. No two of them match, do they? And if you put them against each of your neighbors, you still wouldn't find a single one to duplicate another. That's because they're inimitable. Inimitatable, duplicated nowhere else in nature. Now, Your Honor, I'm prepared to offer under oath the newest scientific evidence to back that up. Now, I could throw up a likeness of Count Luigi's hand, and for no extra charge, Count Angelo's, just to prove that they don't match this one at all. Instead, I searched through my cabinet and found a set which does match. This one. Look at that third finger. There is the same pattern of curves and arches, the same V-shaped scar. There is the same hand.
Might on the small, isn't it? Looks to me more like a baby's hand.
You notice that? That's true. I took that 21 years ago when the subject was only 7 months old.
And may I inquire as to the identity of this fiendish infant?
Well, according to my label, this will all be offered in evidence, Your Honor. It belongs to a slave child who was raised with, and now belongs to, Mr. Thomas Driscoll, valet de chambre.
Mr. Sharp, where is he?
He came here with me.
There he is.
Lock the door. Have him held.
Wait, Your Honor, just hold on. Now, I said before that a man's finger marks never change except they grow bigger, from his cradle to his coffin. But if I was sitting in that box, I'd surely want to be copper-bottom certain that I wasn't hanging a man just because his hands crinkled wrong when he was a baby, unless they were still doing it after he grew up. And I had a picture to prove it, and I found one. The fellow who invented the word ditto could have used these for a model. They are the same in every particular, whorls, swirls, and all, not forgetting that same scar. This is the hand of the man who killed York Driscoll. It was taken, and there are witnesses, last November at a charity bazaar, a year before he murdered his uncle.
Uncle?
The name on the label is Thomas A. Becket Driscoll.
I thought you said both of those were made by the Negro de Chambre.
Yes, sir, I did.
Then please explain how he and Driscoll could have identical marks.
Only one way, Your Honor. They have to be the same person.
Then who is being held up there?
That is, and has always been, the real Tom Driscoll.
All right, there you go! Mr. Wilson, you are not under oath. You could be held for life.
I only know that between this time and this, somebody turned a black slave into his white master.
This is preposterous. Who would substitute one child for another, and why?
I reckon we'll have to ask the woman who did it.
And where, may I inquire, are we to find this woman?
Here. I did it. Lord, forgive me, I did.
I never let on that I mix up them poor babies, and I never told that Master Tom was my own child, so he never took away. I just couldn't stand if they went and saw him down in the river. After I'd done it, I thought it couldn't be so dreadful wrong. After all, well, right there in the Bible, I remember the preacher telling about it. There was a queen over in one of them foreign places a long time ago. And the queen, she left a little baby lying around in the bulrushes and went out calling, and one of the slaves around the place that was almost white, she went and put the queen's child's clothes on her own child, and his pretty beads too, and then she took and she toted the queen's baby back to the slave quarters, and nobody ever found out. And the queen, she bring up that bulrush baby, and his own mammy. She's so proud, because everybody think he real quality. And they gets off the road, and the ladies bob, and the men folk tip their hat. And he grow up to be King Moses. And it say that in the Bible, that it feel like that just in the old time. Because the real truth is it don't matter you wear white child pretty beads around your neck. It always want to be a piece of rope. And days of the spies on you, and it seemed like it's just meant to be everlasting. Why has God been so good to you? Why wasn't he ever good to me? How many everlastings is they supposed to be?
That's right. Only the wenches and their pups go in the wagon. That string of bucks they can walk. Time to the tailgate, though. Some of them look mighty bashful about getting on that steamboat.
I see you got the mulatto. Wonder to me he never hung for what he done.
Cost the state near $500 to hang him. Meat on a rope don't bring nothing. I told the judge I handle them mistake and turn a profit. Besides, I'm selling him down the river. That'll make him wish they had hanged him.
All right, Tom. This is a new bill of sale by which you're buying Roxy back, and this is a new letter of manumission which sets her free again. If you'll just sign here and here. Tom?
Oh, sorry, Mouse Wilson. Didn't know you was talking to me, sir.
Will you just sign these, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I do that, sir. Yes, sir.
Very good, Tom. Tom. That's your name now, and you must accustom yourself to it and to your new station.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Well. Good day, Tom.
Good day, sir. Good day.